Welcome back. This is Kevin Johnson of Leverage Consulting, and you are listening to yet another Organizational Excellence podcast. Today, I'm sharing with you something that has been a consistent point of conversation with a number of my clients over the last couple of months, and for some of them, it's coming to a head, and that is, are you building a championship team? So with that in mind, I want to share a story and something that happened during a client engagement. This was probably 10 years ago, and it was this epiphany I had. And I was sitting with a group of doctors, talking with them about their team. And as with any team, there's literally a bell curve of team members. You're going to have some that are out on one end of the bell curve and they're a phenomenal employee. They're the ones that you wish everyone else was like. And then you have on the other end of the bell curve a group of employees that might be ones that you might wish they would go find a different home. And then you have everyone else in the middle that comprises that 80%. And interestingly enough, as we were having this conversation about their team, I found this conversation kept gravitating back to this one spot, and we kept coming back to this place where the owners, doctors, were asking themselves and asking their partners, is this person bad enough that we should replace them with someone else? And every employer is going to have that conversation or that thought at some point in time. Every manager is going to have that thought at some point in time. But this was the epiphany that I had, and it was whether they were looking at it from a standpoint of whether these team members were good enough to get them to the championship game. And that is an entirely different conversation. And it doesn't matter if you follow what sports you follow or any kind of team-oriented anything that you might follow. It could be anything from you're on a team that's developing a new cure for some disease. If you follow college football, it might be a team that's interested in the college football championship. It might be a golf team. Could be any kind of team. But the point of this is if we take one of these examples, and let's just take Dabo. If Dabo is taking Clemson and let's just start with 100 kids and we put them out on the field, Dabo at some point is going to start telling certain kids, don't come back to practice. And that's the way this works. He's going to tell certain kids, don't come back. Interestingly enough, some of those kids could literally walk onto a ball field somewhere else here in the United States, and they would be a rock star on that team. However, they're not going to be a rock star on the Clemson Tiger team. They are not going to get Clemson to the championship game. So Dabo has to make a choice periodically that certain kids, although they may possess certain qualities, they may possess certain traits that we need in a player, if this individual is not going to get us to the championship game, they have no place on our team. And if we start applying the same concept to the teams that we're on or work in on a routine basis, it changes our mindset. It changes how we look at the team as a whole. And we have to refrain from always gravitating back towards that one spot where we're thinking about, should we fire this person, as opposed to, will this person get me to the championship game? And some may be listening to this podcast thinking, the sun rises and sets in hiring and firing, and that's not the case. There's a lot that goes on in between in terms of picking the right people, training, coaching. I can go on and on and on. There's a lot that goes on between hiring and termination or anywhere in that life cycle. But when you're at that point of evaluating the team that you have, you really do need to sit back and wonder individually, not taking the team as a whole, but taking each person on the team and determining, will this person help me get to the championship game? And if the answer is no, then the next question, which was literally a conversation I had with another client this week, is, have you put your best foot forward to allow this person to succeed? Have we invested in this person well enough to where they can be a championship player on this team? And if the answer is no, then we have work to do. If the answer is yes, I have invested in this person heavily and it's still not what we need, then we have a decision to make. But in the end, if you take this whole podcast and sum it all up, it's about changing the mindset that you have when you look at your team and determining what you need to do with your individual team to help you and your business get ahead. Don't lower your standards, because when you only look at the individual and whether we should replace them, if that's the only criteria you're looking at, then you're settling. So don't settle. Raise the bar for yourself, raise the bar for your team, and reevaluate who you have and whether this team is going to get you and your business to the championship game. So that, my friends, is your Organizational Excellence Podcast. I've got another one teed up for you, and will be coming out very soon.